Welcome back to the Entertainment Roundup. I'm Jay77, and a couple of stories I want to talk about, pretty much linking to each other in many ways. Then not is they all have similar ties to it, and that is the Hulk Hogan situation, and even the former, I got to say that now, former ESPN radio host, Colin Cowherd. He has been let go, or if you believe some of the stories, they said he was leaving anyway, so it didn't really matter. Um, I'm going to talk about both of those stories. We'll talk about other stories as well, but I want to get to the Hulk Hogan thing because the Hulk Hogan situation has really have spread wings over the last 48 hours. It's this thing has surfaced on pretty much on a Thursday slash Friday, and Saturday he was reported that he was let go by the WWE because of the situation, and even gotten worse when Hogan basically blasted WWE for being biased. I will get to all of that in a minute, but I want to touch on the actual thing that led to Hogan's departure, and basically WWE trying to erase him uh, from from their archives because they've been on a huge let's not even recognize he exists mode. The same thing they did with Chris Benoit. So in case you haven't heard, Hulk Hogan has been involved on a very serious lawsuit. It's a very nasty lawsuit, still going on as we speak. And there was a lot of stuff that was being blown out. One, he was recorded um, having sex with a lady, and this led to him being recorded without his permission. This lawsuit is still going strong, and the context inside what was said on that tape has actually supposed to be sealed. It was supposed to be sealed, by the way, guys, and that's the thing that really he was going to forget. Apparently, the Inquirer, along with a couple independent investigators, that's what I like to call, got hold of this information. And basically, because of that, Hogan was pretty much forced to say, "Hey, look, this is what I said. I'm not happy about it. I'm ashamed about it during that time. I do apologize." And what he said was very, very deep. It pretty much was referring to Brooke Hogan boyfriend who she was dating. I don't know if she's still dating or not, but this is something that it referred to that person. And what he said was very, very deep, very hurtful, and basically pretty much brought mixed reactions towards people who was his fans and even still is his fans to this day. Needless to say that the what was said was pretty much simple that everybody he believed everybody's racist. At a point, he was also referring to Brooks Hogan's um, boyfriend, and basically, if he's going to date the N word, he rather have her date someone who is a millionaire, who is like a basketball player, quote. This was while engaging in a sexual encounter with his girlfriend at the time, lover, whatever. And needed to say that that was caught on tape. Um, Now, keep in mind, he's on a lawsuit against the people who have contained the tape. Also, keep in mind that this information was supposed to be sealed by the courts. And because of that, I'm not too sure if the judge going to be too happy with the fact that something that was supposed to be sealed by the courts got leaked out. There's too many of these situations going on right now. We have a football player that is pretty much suing the hospital for actually revealing that he have lost his fingers, which is something that even though we were going to eventually find out, but the fact that it was done by the hospital who's supposed to keep medical records private, yeah, he has a leg to stand on. And I don't know if this is going to be the same thing with Hogan in terms of who leaked that paperwork, because I'm pretty sure the judge is not going to be too happy to hear that that information got leaked out. But regardless, the damage has been done. This led to Hogan being fired, uh, or if you believe, and I got to say that there's two sides of the story because from what we understand, Hogan has step aside. He said he resigns from all contract obligations from the company, and to get things straight, he didn't want this to be a distraction. Well, if he resigned, WWE have a weird way of acknowledging that, because the WWE has done what they did to Chris Benoit, pretty much erasing everything about him on their webpage, on their forums, even in the Hall of Fame section, which is to me is ridiculous. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think that he should deserve that, um, especially since he deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. He deserved to be recognized in the Hall of Fame. There's no reason why they'd have this knee-jerk reaction. I don't want to hear about well, because of what he said. There's a lot of people who said a lot worse. Okay, a lot of people who did a lot worse. You want to, you want to blacklist Chris Benoit. I understand that part. I understand that you're not going to have someone who have committed that terrible of a crime be acknowledged anywhere within the World Wrestling what's called Federation, World Wrestling Entertainment. I get it. I understand it. I know a lot of people don't like it. I know people don't agree with it, but I understand. There's no reason why Hogan should be blacklisted like that. There's no reason. Okay? He built your company. All right? He is the reason why WWE is what it is today. He set the foundation. All right? He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He deserves to be recognized in the Hall of Fame. You want to, terminate him from all contract, from all other activities in the future. You have your right. I'm not going to dispute that. All right. You want to say that he cannot. The image is the reason why you're firing him. You're removing him from being a judge of Tough Enough and all that stuff. Fine, but don't erase the stuff he has done for you during the 30 years of wrestling. He earned that right to be recognized. He earned that right to be in the Hall of Fame. And this is one of the reasons why I don't like the Hall of Fame to be run by one particular entity, particularly WWE. This is why I don't really take that Hall of Fame too seriously. But it is there until another one is made, and hopefully it's been made soon. And to me, he deserves to be there. There's no question. So to remove him from the Hall of Fame, that's basically what they did. They removed him from the Hall of Fame. They remove a section from him from Hall of Fame. You can't remove something like that. He earned that. That should be his forever. Don't just say, "Oh well," because of what happened. No, he has it. And if you're going to start doing that, I suggest you start looking at other wrestlers in the Hall of Fame as well as in your staff members. Because I guarantee you that not everybody is all angels there. They're not. So I'm kind of a little bit upset about that part. But other than that, yeah, I mean Hogan knows the deal. We live in if you want to say we live in a politically correct environment, I ain't gonna argue with that. But the point is that this is something that the wrestling world doesn't want on their table right now. And believe me, with the wrestling world having a bad reputation as it is, and the media who can't wait to chop at the bit of Vince McMahon and company, yeah, they're gonna distance themselves as well as they should. That doesn't mean that I think that he should not wrestle forever. I believe once things are cooled down and he has, once things settle down and he comes to terms with what has happened, I think that he should be given a chance to wrestle. I don't think he should be shine forever. Come on. But for now, this is some very deep stuff. And to me personally, he needs to deal with this lawsuit. He needs to deal with what's going on with the situation regardless. And I think he has been. How many fans have jumped into his side? They believe he's not a racist. They believe that this was an unfortunate situation. Some of them are hurt, but they're going to stick by him. And Hogan, who on Twitter has actually responded and said thank you very much. And, he's moving on. I think he will survive it. I really do. The only thing I ask myself is that if he really feels this way, that's the thing I think people are trying to figure out. Honestly, I think that there is some racial tendencies behind it. I think he did not approve of Brooke dating outside his own kind. And by the way, he's not the only one that felt that way, because I know a lot of people who is my skin color who feel the same way about me, dating someone outside of my race. Well, I've done it occasionally. So I know that there are some people who feel that way. So he probably was angry about that. He probably was not approve about that. That's fine. Doesn't mean I don't feel that he's a racist in general, but I just feel that he holds some standards, and he feels that, hey, you should date people here. There's a whole bunch of people who feel that way. So to attack him for feeling that way is just ridiculous. It just goes to show that we still got a long way to go in terms of race relations, in terms of looking past our skin color, which is something that I'm going to be talking about again during the next storyline. Do I think he pulled up a face? It wouldn't surprise me at all. I keep saying this again and again and again, more so now than ever. What you see on TV, what you see when these guys are out there promoting their stuff, what you see when they go give you your autograph is not what you actually see once the camera's off them. When the doors are closed, they could be a whole different person, and we will never know about it unless it comes to the surface. And this is part of it. He showed me, without a shadow of a doubt, and he showed a lot of people, which I think they were more upset about, more so than the fact that he actually said this, is that he is human. And he will make mistakes. And he will say things that are hurtful. He's not some God from above. He has his own issues to deal with. And the issues have been coming out more and more over the past 10 years. His family was not perfect. He's not perfect. The stuff he was doing is not perfect. The stuff is actually what he's doing is not what reflects what that character was when we grew up in the 80s. I mean, it is what it is. And I think that in any way, I think it solidifies to both fans and non-fans alike that, hey, these stars who we keep putting on a pedestal, who we keep making them larger than life, are human just like us. Just like me, just like you, just like everybody across the country. And they will make mistakes. I'm not making any excuses for Hogan. Trust me, I'm not. Like I said, he said some damaging stuff that shocked me and disappointed me. But again, I never put him on a pedestal. I stopped putting people on pedestals when I was 13. I remember what my uncle told me. I remember what my stepfather told me. My foster parents. They're not paying the bills. They're not the ones who are getting you through school. Don't look up to these guys. And you know what? They were right. Because in the end, they need us more than I need them. In the end, when all the chips are down, when I need something the most, they're not going to come for me. And I left it alone. Still, I became a fan. But not to the point where I am basically in awe that I'm blinded to the fact that they're still human. Hogan is going to deal with a lot of issues. He has a lot of stuff to deal with. I hope he deals with that, especially with this court case, because God knows he doesn't need anything else that he said on that tape to resurface. He doesn't need that. And if I'm Hogan, to be honest with you, hey, he needs to find out who the hell has been leaking his information, because that, even with the fact that whether you are angry with what he said or not angry, the fact is somebody basically have a grudge against him and somebody leaked it out. And as far as the other wrestlers who are going after him and concerned, I got a message for you. Before you go after him and start bashing him, because I know that a lot of wrestlers out there who don't like him because of how he handled himself and conducted himself within WWE, especially in WCW. There's a whole lot of stories out there. A whole lot. Started with Warrior. It filtered down to the other high promotionals and how he had his ego as well as him being on top of the world, seeing the whole people back. I'm aware of that. Before you start attacking, because I've seen it on Twitter, I've seen Steiner's report, I've seen a lot of other reports. I want you to look at yourself first. Look at yourself. Tell me what perfect things you have done. But I guarantee you, some of these guys who are attacking him shouldn't be attacking him. I'm just keeping it real. There's a whole lot of stories that has been brought up with you guys, and nobody have really have put it to task yet. So before you attack them, look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, am I better than that man that I'm attacking? And as far as WWE, listen, I think you guys are overreacting with the situation. I think you guys are jumping the gun in terms of erasing him from existence. I don't think you should do that. I don't think he deserves that. And I think you're wrong by doing that. Especially trying to erase him from the Hall of Fame section. No. He earned that Hall of Fame. That should be his forever. That don't make no sense whatsoever what you're doing. It also solidifies just how fake, if anything, it solidifies how fake the Hall of Fame really is. You don't erase a guy from Hall of Fame like that, especially since he earned it. He deserves to be there. He built your company. He was the face of your company for years. You can't erase that. You can't erase 30 years of history. That's him. He earned that. Don't take that from him. He don't deserve to be taken from him like that. And Vince, the person who has, a lot of demons in your closets, you really have no reason to take that from him. Now, as far as what Hogan has said about Vince using the N-word in terms of a promotion and a promotion, that doesn't hold merit for one reason. That was part of the show. Booker T, John Cena, they all was in on the act. All right? That was part of a show to promote good guy versus bad guy. It was nothing else, and he didn't even say the whole full word, which, even though there's no excuse for saying the word anyway. Everybody who knows me knows how I feel about the N-word. But I can't go nuts about that because it was a promotional thing. Everybody knew what was going on. It was part of the script. It wasn't like what you said on that tape. That was a whole different ball game right there. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of bitterness between the two right now. It's going to be a lot of bitterness. And I can't really blame Hogan for being bitter because he's basically being erased. 30 years of his devotion from WWE and for wrestling in general is being treated like it was nothing and being erased. I'll be upset. I'll be upset too. And he has every right to be. I hope wrestling will come. I hope they may come to the sense and say, "Hey, look, this is going too far." And keep his Hall of Fame leaves. If anything else, can you make sure he keeps his section in the Hall of Fame? He deserves that. He deserves to be there. You can't take that away from him. If you're not, then maybe it'd be best that you met somebody else who's not involved with WWE, who's not involved with any wrestling organization to run the Hall of Fame from now on out. Because to me, that only just proves that the Hall of Fame is a joke. Nothing more than a promotional thing, a promotional gimmick. Which is sad because there are great wrestlers who deserve to be recognized. I've said this for 18 minutes. I'm going to move on because there's another storyline I do want to talk about. But if you guys have any comments about this, any opinions, please do so. Put it in the comment section. I'd love to hear your opinion on this matter. And now it's time to move on. ESPN has let go of Colin Cowherd. This is the first time I've heard about this guy. I've actually listened to some of his radio stuff on YouTube to get a better feel of what his radio is. He sounds like more of a shock jock to me. There's no question he had ticked off a lot of political figures like Huckabee. That was the NASCAR situation a few years ago. And needless to say, he has said something that not only ticked off a lot of people of race, but basically Major League Baseball, ESPN, and a lot of other people in general. What he said was out of line. He was just basically, when I read it, I just couldn't believe it. When I heard about it, I couldn't believe it. And then after hearing it and letting it soak in, this is what he said is a prime example of why racism and bigotry is still alive and well in this country. Just pure racism right there. In case you want to know, the former ESPN radio host have said has made a comment about a new general manager, and he basically said that the sport, um, he basically pretty much said that Dominicans are not academically intelligent, that they don't have the same academic education as others people does, and they've come from a very rough background. Basically, he was saying they were thugs and they was dumb. And to no surprise, after he said that, Major League Baseball Players Association, ESPN, and others who were in that field had lashed out. And deservedly so. Now, he did came out and made a statement saying this is not what he believes in, blah, 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 but I'm not buying that. And I'll tell you why I'm not buying it. The way it was said, because I've heard the radio bits, how it was said, it was just absolutely ridiculous. That is a pure example of why people feel the way they feel against individuals, because they feel that they're not smarter than they are, that they don't have the right background as they are, that they're not really educated well as we are. So therefore, how can they possibly do a job? How can they possibly do that job that requires smarts and education and intelligence? That's one of the main excuses for hating on many people, because they feel they're dumb and stupid and they don't deserve the recognition like I do. What do they know about this kind of stuff? And if you look down in history, that's been mainly the weapon against certain individuals of color. Black, Hispanic, Japanese. They don't think like we do. How can they be smart? Even though, if you look at history, those with power have always done everything they can to limit education, and they still do to this day. But no. We don't want to see that part. What he said was absolutely absurd, absolutely disgusting, and unacceptable. And ESPN have cut ties. They said that doesn't reflect us or our views. They went quickly into repair mode and said he would no longer be on the radio, which is kind of pointless because it was actually reported that he was leaving anyway, that he was on his way to Fox Sports. Now, I don't know if that's still the case. If it is, fine. I am nothing against Fox hiring him or not. That's their call. They know the risk what they're going to come in with it, but that's their call. But the point is, if you listen to his radio show, there's a lot of other stuff he said that just basically scratched my head and said, how the hell this guy had a job? I mean, I was honest with you. Politicians got on him. He said, I'm honest because I say the thing that is the truth. Well, obviously, he must have meant that's what he said, because that came spewing right on out. And Major League Baseball did a good job. Major Players Association did a good job. But I think he brought up, what Colin brought up, if anything else, it shows why we still have an issue with race in this country. It really does. That's a perfect reflection of how one person who is narrow-minded, closed-minded, who can't see outside their own little world they have created in, thinks. He's a dumb guy. Most of these people on welfare, they're just living off my taxes. They don't want to get jobs. They're too stupid. How the hell they got this position? I should be on that position. They're not educated right. They're not educated well. Why should they get a job? Somebody gave it to them. Somebody must have handed it to them. All this stuff. They can't look past their own skin color. They can't look past their own little world they created for themselves. That was the perfect example of that. If anything else, did you get that? That's a perfect example of how someone who has hatred, who is closed-minded, thinks. If he did not mean that, he would never have said that. And like he said at his radio station, hey, he speaks the truth. Well, you know what? That must have been the truth. And it's deep, isn't it? You know, I don't know what Fox was going to do. According to reports, he was supposed to go there. I'm pretty sure, because I know a lot of people say when they hear the word Fox, he immediately said, "Oh, well, this is right up the alley." Let me assure you about one thing. There's a difference between sports and Fox News. All right, Fox News, yes, they're conservative-based news, but Fox Sports runs like a whole different ballgame. Okay, they're not the same. They're not the same entity as Fox News. Fox Sports is a totally different thing. So don't expect the same crap to happen that you normally would hear in a conservative news station. You're not gonna get the same thing. You're not. So they're probably gonna have a nice little word with him. They're gonna make sure this doesn't become a distraction. They're gonna make sure that this is not gonna be an everyday occurrence. They're probably gonna let him do his format the way he always does. That's one of the reasons why they got him. But to believe me when I'm saying, if it comes to a point where it becomes too hot for Fox, they're going to get rid of him. They're going to get rid of him. So don't think that it's like, oh, all Fox division are the same. They're not. And even though I don't even think Fox News will take that. Because let's be honest, there was a lot of people in Fox News that didn't like some of the comments he said. Huckabee being one of them. So don't think he's going there on great terms. He really isn't. It's a business decision. It's a business move. And believe me, if the thing becomes hard, comes to the point where it hurts their bottom line, they're going to terminate that. They're going to terminate times with them. So again, I can't go crazy with Fox, signing him, because that's business. They made a choice. I can live with that. But believe me, they're going to basically make some stipulations too. So if I'm this radio announcer, I'll be very, very careful what words you say from here on out. You already ticked off Major League Baseball. And you need to be very careful. Sometimes you say a lot of things, and that one thing gets you in a whole bunch of trouble. And believe me when I say it, I ain't buying that he didn't mean what he said, because I heard it too often. Those words too often. The one thing about a person who has hatred in their heart, they always look at education. They always look at the fact that their person's ability. They can't do what they do. So they shouldn't be in that position. Making excuses to keep people who deserves to be in that position not in that position. I've seen it much too often, and it still goes on today. Still goes on in many workplaces. They look at one different than the other. I'd like to hear your comments on this, guys. I'd like to hear what you have to say. I really do. So, leave it in the comment section. Let me know what you have to feel. I'm moving on. Well, the so-called beef between Taylor Swift and Nicki Minaj is over. Thank goodness. Should never begin in the first place. I guess that the one thing I find it very interesting is about how it became to be in the beginning. Because when I heard the news, I heard it went through a feed from NBC about Nicki and I not being happy that the MTV Video Music Awards has snubbed her for Best Video of the Year. And later on, and I read the tweet, and I read it from top to bottom because I knew what she was saying. And I was like really thinking about what she was saying, diving in what she was saying. Then all of a sudden, Taylor Swift got involved, and I think that she took aback to what Nicki Minaj was trying to say, and I do believe that she took it the wrong way. I do believe that, and I was very happy to see that. Hey, you know what? I was wrong. You know, because a lot of people have pride. A lot of people do have pride in terms of apologize, and what she did was very, very noble of her. Um, and the fact that Mickey, who I had a problem with her in terms of beef in the past, and I'm talking about the Mariah Carey situation. I'm very happy she was able to say, "Yo, no, it's good. It's all good. I still love her. I love her work. She's doing great, and everything has been squashed after that." All right. So, but it also shows something else about these awards. And for a while, I never really took these awards seriously because I just think it's just a bunch of stars passing each other trophies, especially with the movies awards. You get that feeling more so than not. But these singers, I know, take it very seriously. They take it extremely seriously, and it's almost like a personal thing when it comes to these awards. More so than I think it should be, but I think they really look at that more. It's more of a personal statement for the musicians than it is for the movie stars. When I look at the movie stars, I think most of them don't really care about the awards they get. I mean, granted, it's the recognition. I know there's some kind of compensation when they got the awards, but you don't get that kind of explosion and passion that you really get from the music awards. And I kind of find it weird how that always works out. Again, I'm not a big fan of these awards shows. I only report on some of the movie ones because that's where my love is. My love is for movies, so I do care to look at these more than I do at the music awards, and that's fine. But I do find it very interesting how it is more of a big deal for these artists in their profession than it is for the actor or actress in theirs. Maybe I'm overlooking it. Maybe I'm not looking at the whole picture because for one I know maybe these movie stars do take these awards seriously, but you don't get it as much as you see here. Um, I think the fans of their favorite of moviegoers. I think moviegoers um, have more passion for their favorite artists and favorite actors than I think the artists and actors does. But this is something very, very deep because this ain't the first time I heard artists getting a little upset that they got snubbed. And maybe for the record, being snubbed is something that's going to happen regardless. There's always going to be that one artist who didn't get nominated. I remember Ben Affleck not getting the Best Director for his film Oracle. I mean, what? You telling me he didn't direct that film perfectly? Yet he did win for Best Picture. But I think that was because a lot of people say, "Hey, what the hell's going on here?" So, is there a lot of political moves? I think it is. I don't know if is Minaj comment about because this is where it really led to. And according to the sources, that she said that if she was slim like some of the other singers, that she'd probably be recognized more than those who are her of her figure. Now I'm gonna be honest with you. If that's the case, then I don't know what the hell the judge is looking at because she looks gorgeous. She looked absolutely beautiful, with or without her makeup. I mean, she really is a beautiful woman. With that being said, I just think it was just more of a political move, political slash just a move to say somebody has to be cut off. She may be good, but to me, these are the ones which is better. Um, I don't think that because Nicki might have been nominated for awards a lot before. So seeing this first time, I don't think that it was more. I think it was just more about the fact that she just got snubbed. That was it. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, they do take this personal. A lot more than I actually think. Even when stuff I didn't think it was personal, like Macklemore. And I mentioned this on an independent, on a standalone video. It seemed like a lot of people was like, "How did he get? Why he won? He's not better than this than I think it was Drake." And it was to the point where he was even apologizing. And I'm like, "Why are you apologizing? You didn't do anything wrong. The judges, you're not the judge. You didn't fix the award show." But you get it. I'm getting that a lot more over the years. That hey, these musicians, they take pride in that trophy, and in many ways, it's a good thing because it does show that they really want to be awarded for their achievements. I'm not nothing against that. At the same time, it tends to unintentionally make enemies out of people they don't really need to make enemies out of. This whole thing could have easily been a nasty. This could have been a nasty month with artists going back and forth on tweet over nonsense. All right, it really was. It could have gotten that bad. Um, Thankfully, it didn't happen. Thankfully, the Taylor Swift said, "Hey, I'm sorry. I misspoken. I was wrong." And thankfully, Nicki Minaj said, this means a lot. I'm happy that this was you a great artist, and I'm glad both got squashed because when you have beef like this, and trust me, I'm going back to the American Idol. Not only does it reflect both artists, but my God, the fans could really make things a whole lot worse. Fanboys and girls can make things a matter more worser than it really should be. And the fact that they both was able to come together and say, hey, look, this is wrong. I'm sorry, and actually make peace. That says a lot about the character, and I'm actually glad that Nicki Minaj accepted the apology, and just move on. Um, I don't think I'm. I don't think I don't think I'm. I don't think I'm. Sorry. I understand why Nicki Minaj is upset. She felt that she had done great. She felt that she was doing. She felt that she had the video that one of the top videos, and she felt she should have been recognized as that. So I can understand that she's being upset. At the same time, I don't think it's not a big a deal. It's just one award of how many? Trust me, there's a whole lot of awards out there, and it's just MTV. And I don't even consider MTV the mega award show. I kind of find it funny that MTV is still making an award show about music when music is not even their main business plan anymore. All you need to do is look at their channel, and you know what I'm talking about. So I find it kind of funny that they still celebrate music when in reality it is they really don't care for it anymore. I just find it very funny that way. But I do find it very interesting that again, yeah, the musicians take this seriously more than ever. I mean, at first I just thought, oh, it's just a bunch of guys just beefing, but no, they take this seriously. And in many ways, it's kind of good to see that. It's kind of good to see they take pride in these awards. On the other hand, you don't need to get to the point where you're making enemies where you don't need to make enemies. And that's where I'll leave it right now, guys. That's all I got to say about the Entertainment Roundup. If you guys have any comments that you'd like to talk about in this video, please put it down, or this podcast, please put it down in the comment section. I'd like to hear your opinion on the matter. And until next time, this is J77 saying take care, be safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.